Hello, people. This is another. I was going to say something else, but came back, reviewing things, realized I have completed a series and left out a couple of things, as well as I can't find the rest of the videos for this series, so I'll probably wind up recording the whole thing because of the importance. So the number's a little bit coinkydink as to what you've seen in the past. I apologize. I could only find one of the several videos I had posted up. Where the rest went, I don't know. In Deuteronomy chapter 7, we're reading, "The Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering and possess. He drives out from before you many of the nations." I'm reading from the Holman Christian Standard scriptures. So he'll drive out before you many nations: Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Okay. I know I've touched on the Amorites. I think I've done Hittites as well, and possibly the Canaanites, but I gotta find my notes and do it. So if this one is kind of like out of whack, I apologize. The ones I want to focus on today is the Girgashites, and that's the one I missed. And sometimes it's a matter of timing, like God wants to show me as well as you. So I thought, well, wait a second. We're not to intermarry with them. We do not let our daughters marry them, and nor will we let our sons marry these people, because they'll turn our sons away from following Yahweh to serve other gods, and then the anger of the Lord will burn against us, and of course punishment comes down, and he'll destroy us and everything we are. Instead, this is what you're to do: is to tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, cut down their Asherah poles, burn their idols with fire. For you are a people holy unto the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you as before from his prized possession above all the other peoples that face the world. He didn't choose you because you were a larger number than the other peoples. He chose you. In fact, you had the lowest population of all. And as well, because the Lord loved you and kept you his oath and swore to his fathers, and he brought you with a mighty hand, redeemed you from the house of slavery, from the land of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. I said to myself, who are these Girgashites? What's so important about them? Why are they mentioned? Everything has a meaning and brings a little bit to the story. A Girgashite means can mean people who dwell amongst clay. It also can be translated to be those which die by drowning, or as well as the people of clay, and as well as those which turn back and give up. We see a lot of people turning back, not necessarily to follow the ways of Yahweh, following many other teachings. They don't want to hold on to what is truth anymore. One of the tactics of the Girgashite, whether it's real or imaginary, the spirit that drove these people is that they can imagine wrongdoing of a believer, and they can't relate to scriptures like this at all. I'm just going to bring something up here for the notes. God's instruction to Israel is not to have anything to do with them. People who are unstable, unsteady, they're in and out of church. Not necessarily church, but in and out of the belief system. And they're here one minute and gone the next. Back in the world, partying, drunkenness, immoral living, just different ways of which they will continually return back to it and drag half the church with them. They're the type of people that sit amongst you and go like, well, you know, look, the majority of the world is eating pork, so you should eat pork too. No, the Bible tells us not to. I live in Canada, and Canada's a free country, and we get to choose. So if you want to eat pork, that's your choice, but it's also my choice not to eat pork. That's just a small little thing of how these people can pull you away. Well, let's all go to the bar because this is where everybody is. You want to find a girl, go to the bar. You ever notice that the marriages that are made, which are cemented in bars, don't usually last. They're there for the thrill and for the good times, and when the thrill and the good time, when a bar closes, oftentimes people are left venturing around trying to find the next bar with the next good feeling. I've seen a lot of churches crop up, a lot of congregations crop up today. And they should be there, and instead of doing something new, they go like, we got something more advanced, but all they're doing is the same old schlep, copying something that they've seen either in Toronto or in Vancouver or down in the States, thinking this is a good thing, is a marketable thing, and realistically it's the same old hash browns and nothing really changes, because the spirit of apostasy will turn us from following Yahweh as well as Yeshua and cause us to lose our inheritance. We're left void, we're left drained, we're left alone. When we find ourselves thinking it's too hard to be a Christian, this is part of the Girgashite way of thinking. It's part of their tactics. It's just too hard. Your ways are just too much for us. Leave us be. We want to do it our way. And God's supposed to be easy. And God's ever redeeming. And God overlooks many sins and goes on to us. And though there is some truth to that, it's the enemy switching it. People who dwell in the clay soil, these Girgashites, were the fifth son, were descendants of the fifth son of Canaan. The original inhabitant, we don't know exactly where, but they were part of the Canaanite area, which was promised to Abraham, and they settled there and took it over. They're a branch of the family of the Hittites, right? And I think I touched with them, and if not, look for the new videos coming up. Their geographical position is nothing really known. Probably lived somewhere where mostly central Philistine was, in that area. Every sin habit has its strength and power and is stronger and mightier than what we are. God didn't choose the Israelite people because of their strength and power. He chose them. In fact, they were smallest nation in number and still are one of the smaller nations. They're a miracle to exist where they are. And even with Islamic world, if not the common world, carving them up and trying to keep them small, they are able to stand up against large numbers that overrun them. Take a look at your map, how many countries border Israel that are Islamic, and it's growing every day. These 7 nations were stronger, mightier, had more people, had a larger population, were more rooted, had stronger cities, were walled cities, were fortified, had iron and brass and bronze type of weaponry, and yet the Israelites came with rock slingers and spear chuckers up against these people and virtually handed their head in a handbag. The only thing that they did wrong was God said to destroy them, and if not, they would become a plague to them. And we see today many of the surrounding nations still exist, owe their descendants to Canaan and to Edom and to other nations that once existed, who have a hate on for Israel. And we also see ourselves as true believers surrounded by more people who don't necessarily practice or follow our beliefs. What do we do about them? Do we judge them, criticize them? A lot of people do. Or do we go forth and present the banner of the Lord and overrun them with the truth? Well, many people sit there and they don't want to talk about truth. You got your truth, I got my truth, and somewhere in the middle, who knows, there is the real truth. Maybe we both don't see it. We see a lot of compromise. Well, that's fine and dandy. That was back there. That's 16th, 17th century thinking. When you take a look at the people, the most largest growing religion right now is Islam, and it has not changed since the 7th, 8th century. It's become larger, it's become greater, it's become overrun. They have their divisions. Don't think that they're a united great group. They're not. The Shittites are and the Pharisee type branches of the Sunni and the other group do not have any love lost for each other, and they have very deep viewpoints on the Prophet, Allah, and their teaching of their God, as well as their own faith and religion, and how people should dress and look and sing. When we see political parties, we have to understand what this is all about. There are 7 giants who just won't let you walk in your faith. And these are one of them, and one of them is compromise. The lure of our old life, to go back to our heavy smoking, our drunkenness, our lewd parties, wild ways. You see it even in the church, where decency used to be a banner which separated us from the world, and here we are today, right back. I mean, you see skinny tight jeans reveal many things on song leaders, and pastors and ministers dressed up no different today than the world. We've seen rap in the churches, and we see other forms of music, and people go like, well, Larry Norman led that church, and why should the devil have all the good music? It was his banner. At the same time, is all this really good music? I mean, I've heard rap, and I kind of have a potentiality to like rap for a bit, providing it has a message. But I'm listening to the music that's out there, and it's photobomb this, photobomb that, photobomb the other. You're a photobomb there, photobomb, she's a photobomb. And they degrade women, and they cut down every type of form of value or lifestyle within it. They claim that they're persecuted people, and they wanted to do something, get the message out to help them set free, and get for the billions and billions of dollars in that industry. Not one program or project have come out of these people. Just more condemnation, more division, more racism, more sexism, more exploitation, and more domination of people around them. Rather than liberty, they bring bondage. Something to think about. As a Netzari, our commitment is to set the people free. Yahweh sent Moses into Egypt, and he sent him with a message. Father's going to get us out of this mess. We got ourselves into this mess, but God's going to get us out of this mess. We're in a mess in this world. I guess that's why we're called Messianics. We're considered to be a mess in this world. We get it on both sides. We're too Jewish to be Christian, we're too Christian to be Jewish. The whole idea, and we do have the commonality with the Jewish people because they're looking for a Messiah. We say he's come here, he's lived here, and he'll return. That's the message. That's the message should be preached. Not this feel-good prosperity doctrine which leaves people empty, but to be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, to feel the fire and burning in our hearts, and to set forth the message. Are you a Girgashite? Are you wishy-washy in what you believe? Are you truly seeking out the truth as is laid out in Scripture? What will man do? How can a man be saved? What are the statutes which are important to our life? It says to live peaceably amongst all men. But how are we going to live peacefully amongst all men when we're surrounded by people who do not wish to have peace? We serve the Prince of Peace, and He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and His return draws near. So many things prophetically have come to place that were never in place before, including the building of the third temple. Something to think about is to be watchful and ever prayerful, and we look to the sky for where our redemption comes. Are you looking up, or are you cast down? The Spirit gives us liberty, and the Spirit gives us strength. We are now called more than overcomers. Something to think about in your life. Time to push the Girgashites out of this land and take back what is rightfully ours, given to us by God Almighty Himself. Till next time, it's been a while since I did these type of recordings. This is Daniel saying shalom and blessings to you. Amen.